A few months ago, I made a video about 5G describing exactly what it is and what dangers it really does pose. The link for that, if you're interested, is in the description. Unfortunately, a countryman of mine named Mark Steele is working tirelessly to try and undo all that good work I've done. And he's even going as far to say that 5G is a weapon. Hello all and welcome along to this special edition of Tinfoil Tuesday. My name is Simon Dan, thank you very much for joining me. Yes, I know it's Sunday. As I said, Mark Steele is on a crusade of sorts, putting out countless videos of misinformation about 5G without a single clue regarding anything he's talking about. Luckily for us, MCToon is on the case and has been debunking him and debating him with conviction for a while now. I've decided to offer my channel up to MCToon so he can expose Mark Steele just that little bit more. Away you go, buddy.
Mark Steele is an anti-5G conspiracy theorist. He started by misunderstanding everything about 5G, but he didn't stop there. You won't believe the things he says. Mark has many absurd ideas about things like cell phone networks, how electromagnetic waves interact with matter, and some really crazy stuff about vaccines. A couple years ago, Mark started yammering on about the streetlights in Gateshead in the UK where he lives. He imagines the low-power wireless control systems that turn the streetlights on and off is a weapon system. That's right, you heard it. He thinks it's a weapon system. How would he know this? Well, he claims to be a weapon systems expert.
I'm an expert in this particular field.
I'm an expert in weapon sight systems and weapon systems.
I'm one of the leading experts in the world in this technology.
I'm a weapon systems expert, and I'm telling you now, that's a weapon. I want you to arrest these two people here.
I'm a weapons expert.
He said I was an expert. He said I was very expert. Very expert.
So, is Mark a weapon systems expert? No. He does say he worked in a secret facility in the 80s, but he won't say what he did, what company he worked for, or anything to confirm his claims. He says he's not allowed to because of the Official Secrets Act, though he constantly denounces the government. It seems strange he would hide behind this veil. He doth protest too much. So let's accept, just for a minute, that he has some experience on some kind of weapon systems. Does this qualify him in any way to know anything about radio frequencies in the, like cell phone network realm? Well, let's see what he has to say about that.
I'm not the main expert in microwave radiation. What I know a lot about, what you talked about before, is light.
Right, I'm not an expert in microwave radiation emissions. My expertise is in the terahertz range.
Terahertz? That's just light. Pretty much visible light. So based on his own words, we are assured that Mark has no experience in radio frequency topics or antennas for radios. Nothing at all. But that didn't stop him from making videos showing all about his confusion.
Now, I know it's masquerading as a light, but it's a weapon. All right, so let's just show you. Let's just break this whole thing down and show people what this is. All right. First of all, I'm going to take this piece, this antenna piece, to pieces. All right, people have seen it before. They've seen the breakdown. All right, let's just unloosen this piece here. All right, let's just break this down and let's show people what this is. All right, let's just show people this is not a dipole antenna. Look.
Well, that is the one thing Mark gets correct. It's not a dipole antenna. It's a monopole antenna. There's a big difference. And any expert or someone familiar with antennas would never make that mistake. He doesn't know anything about antennas. He doesn't know enough to differentiate between a dipole and a monopole antenna, like any expert would.
But that is an illegal piece of equipment. It's not a Part 15 FCC approved piece of equipment.
So he just said it's not a Part 15 FCC approved piece of equipment. Now, if you're unfamiliar with FCC Part 15, it's the certification guidelines in the United States for radio equipment. Did Mark investigate if that was certified before making this claim? Of course not. But I did. It's freely available for download from the FCC's website. Here we see the certification for the streetlight radio controller part submitted to the FCC. I downloaded it for free off their website. Shame, Mark. You could have done a little research instead of making that embarrassing little mistake.
It's a high gain dielectric lens antenna. All right. This can target acquire. It's radar. That's a scanner. All right. It's a scanning antenna. They are illegal.
So here he mentioned a dielectric lens antenna. This is a strange claim. It's a very special type of antenna. And there's no lens. But here's what happened. I debated Mark a few weeks ago on my channel, and he doubled down on this lens claim. If you want to see Mark in a debate, the link's in the description. Mark hates that debate. If you post a link to that debate in any of his videos or anywhere on social media, he will immediately censor you. Mark loves censorship. So here's an idea, just for fun. Everyone grab the link to that debate. It's in the description here. And find Mark somewhere online and paste it. Send it to his friends and his followers and his fans and his whatever. See if they like it. See what they think. So let's get back to the antenna. Here's a close-up of the antenna. It seems he thinks this little blob is that special type of antenna called a dielectric lens. That blob is actually just a bit of conformal coating. It's a varnish to protect the board's components from moisture, dust, chemicals, temperature extremes. The blob is actually in a different spot on every single antenna in different places. So since Mark doesn't know anything about electronics and has never seen the inside of a piece of electronics equipment before, he gets easily confused about the drips of varnish. It seems he saw the words dielectric lens somewhere and imagined this blob is a lens. What Mark doesn't know is that for a lens antenna, the size of the lens is determined by the wavelength. The wavelength for this controller is 34.5 centimeters or 13.5 inches. The smallest effective lens, and it wouldn't even be that effective, would be 13.5 inches in diameter, over a foot. That's a huge, huge lens, and it's the absolute minimum. That little blob isn't nearly large enough. The reality is that this is a basic omnidirectional antenna, pretty much the simplest antenna made. It cannot do any of the things he claims. But it gets even more strange. Mark claims these streetlight controllers are actually 5G.
This isn't just 5G. We'll come on to that. It's not just 5G. This is specifically 5G. There it is on the top of the streetlights.
Yeah, he thinks these streetlights are a 5G cell phone network. Now, these streetlight controllers were designed around 2007, and the 5G spec wasn't published until about 2017, 10 years later. So unless the streetlight engineers had a TARDIS, there's no way they could be 5G. Basically, Mark Steele calls everything 5G to get people worked up. He doesn't actually have any idea what 5G is. I don't think he's ever looked at the spec or anything. So I'm planning to do a larger treatment on his lens claims and antenna stuff on my channel. This will show Mark's full level of incompetence. So be sure to subscribe to my channel, links in the description, so you get a notification when it comes out. And you can share that to him all over social media and he'll block you and delete you too. Another very common claim in the anti-5G movement revolves around 60 gigahertz radio frequency waves.
This is a 60 gigahertz, what they call Y gig, and the waveform actually accelerates the electrons in the oxygen molecule because it attenuates in the oxygen molecule. It actually gets stuck in it. It's not 60 gigahertz has no purpose for telecommunications. The only thing it is good at is causing the air to be noxious. So your hemoglobin, you can't pick it up in your hemoglobin, and you will suffer what looks like altitude sickness, pulmonary edema. So you'll basically flood in the lung. Your lungs will fill up with fluid.
So Mark said it's accelerating the electrons. Seriously, that's not how it works. It seems he's trying to talk about photon absorption. This is where a photon is absorbed by an electron, and the electron moves to a higher energy state. This is not unusual. We call it warmth. It doesn't affect an atom's ability to interact chemically, so it wouldn't affect oxygen at all. It's also not what's happening with 60 gigahertz. So this graph shows that oxygen is extremely likely to absorb 60 gigahertz. Not a problem, because this is due to a particular property of oxygen related to electron spin. I'm not going to get into it too much here. The required energy to change a pair of electrons spin is the same as 60 gigahertz photon. It's critical to know, though, that this spin change doesn't affect the oxygen chemical properties at all. It has no effect on oxygen's ability to bond with hemoglobin. There are several variations of this 60 gigahertz and oxygen hoax floating around, that 60 gigahertz absorbs oxygen, somehow making matter disappear, that it breaks it, that it ionizes it. None of them are true. If anybody says that, ask for the citation, the actual science behind it, right? And see how it works, right? There are none, so send them to my channel. I'll be glad to have them on and explain it to them. So here is where Mark turns the crazy to 11. He's been testing new conspiracy scams lately, so here's his newest one.
All right, so there's some other nasty pathogens in the vaccine as well, some DNA editing technology, so then you won't be a person. You'll not be a man. You'll not be a man or a woman. You're not covered under the law, and that's why they need to give you the vaccination so they can kill you, all right? Because then there's no sanction. It's like me taking a pig, and you will become a pig because they're going to genetically modify you with pig DNA. So that'll go into your DNA. It'll change you into a pig, what's called a chimera, and a chimera is not covered under the law. So you see, God's law, the whole British judicial system is based on God's law, and God's law only applies to man and woman.
Yes, Broadmoor? Yeah, okay. Do you have a guy, just maybe that thinks vaccines will modify people's genes and turn them into pigs? Oh, yes, you do. Yeah, and yeah, his name is Mark. Could you maybe check to see if he's, still there? Oh, yeah, he's missing. Yeah, I thought so. You might find him in Gateshead. Yeah, he was recently seen talking to a huge gathering of 6 people, talking about vaccines and streetlights zapping people. All right. Okay. Bye. Well, I hope they can get the care he needs. So, in case you didn't catch what Mark said, he claims that the upcoming vaccine will edit your genes and turn you into a pig.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Yeah, Mark is not a medical doctor, or a virologist, or a molecular biologist, or an epidemiologist. So what he said about that is simply not possible. He may have seen another scammer talking about the mRNA type vaccines to get this very wrong idea. That's not how it works. Mark, look it up. Right? Mark is wholly unqualified to make any claims about vaccines or how they work. Leave that to the experts, Mark. You have no business talking about this.
You will die a chimera. You will not be a man. You will not be a woman, and you will not be covered under the law. This is what they're after. They want to kill a lot of people, but they need to get the vaccination in them first so that the law doesn't apply to you.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
So let's imagine for a second that a vaccine could actually modify someone's genes. Mark thinks this would make it legal to kill someone then. This is absolutely insane. I told you the crazy was turned up to 11.
So in the vaccination is some nanoparticulates, metals, tungsten, zinc, mercury, and aluminium. Once you put those nanoparticulates into a microwave radiation field, you will become an antenna. It will allow me to actually target acquire you. It will allow me to be able to shoot you.
Mark, this vaccine doesn't even exist yet. How do you know what's in it? You don't. Also, this is a gross misunderstanding about how microwave fields, antennas, and power levels work. Mark thinks nanoparticles act as antennas. Seems he doesn't know that the size of an antenna determines what the antenna picks up. Nanoparticles are too small to pick up any type of radio waves. That would be on the opposite side of the electromagnetic spectrum, up in X-rays and gamma rays area. Not radio waves, not even close. Seriously, Mark, stick to plumbing. All right, that's enough of Mark Steele's nonsense for today. You can only take so much. So I did have Mark on my channel for a debate where he yelled, interrupted, insulted, and never presented any evidence to support his claims. He really made a fool of himself. I think Mark needs another chance. So here's the idea, Mark. Simon Dan has agreed to host a debate on his channel. The topics: your dielectric lens, target acquiring, scanning radar antenna claims, and all that garbage about 60 gigahertz. This would be structured and moderated, so we understand you may be intimidated. Toughen up, you can handle it. Mark, you have my email address. Thank you to Simon Dan for hosting this video. Go ahead and pop over to my channel and subscribe so you can see more 5G nutters get smashed. We'll see you next time. Thanks.
Huge thanks to MCToon. A fantastic job there. Thoroughly debunked him. Mark, if you are watching, then please do get in contact and take MCToon up on his offer. Him, me, and this channel are all waiting. I would also like to apologise on behalf of all British people for Mark and his nonsensical ramblings. Right, there we go, an absolutely fantastic Tinfoil Tuesday special there. If you enjoyed it, then please do like and subscribe. Take a look at MCToon's channel as well, the link for that's in the description. I have been Simon Dan, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you all on Tuesday for some tinfoil fun. See you then.